Hey guys, it's 4 a.m. or maybe not. Why do I do this to myself? Who knows? More importantly, this project, which will go over the Dred Scott versus Stanford document, which I'll pull up right here, consists of the Supreme Court's ruling on the case. And we're not going to read through all of it, but we'll go over the major points in the hippo or whatever. And also, here is these lovely handouts I've provided. And if you're wondering why they're so small, it's because I don't get paid for this. Also, here's my brilliant Google slide presentation, and let's start real quick. Isn't this presentation just gorgeous? So, historical context. In 1846, Dred Scott and his wife decided to gain their freedom by suing their owner at the time, which was Irene Sanford. And they justified this because previously the Scotts have lived in Wisconsin and Illinois, which were free territories. And I don't actually know what I'm pointing at because this is just a blank piece of paper. But point being, they thought they would be free. So they brought up the court case, and it eventually made it to the Supreme Court 10 years later in 1856. There, Robert B. Taney ruled that people with African descent weren't U.S. citizens, so they had no right to sue. Additionally, since he was technically property, the U.S. government had no right to take property away from a slaveholder, which is just great. Now, intended audience. The intended audience was meant to be the trial subjects, of course, but in a broader sense, the whole nation was the audience because everyone was waiting to see the ruling of the government and to see if the conclusion of this controversial topic. And next is the purpose. The purpose of the document was to state the United States ruling on whether the Dred Scott was meant to be free or not, and ultimately it ruled that African Americans were devoid of citizenship, quote unquote, stating, "We think that they are not included and were not intended to be included under the word citizen." Additionally, the document also had the purpose of expressing the U.S. opinion on African Americans, free or slave, as an inferior race, as stated, saying, quote, "as a subordinate and inferior class of beings who have been subjugated by the dominant race." And I hope you got that written down. The point of view was from Robert B. Taney, the person next to me, and he probably had a wealthy white American heritage, and additionally, he was the Chief of Justice at the time. Thus, he viewed the matter on a very constitutional and logical view of the white man at the time. Outside information. The Missouri Compromise was repealed in the Kansas and Nebraska Act, showing slavery was legal above the 3630 parallel 2 years before the Dred Scott Stanford case. The Dred Scott versus Stanford case added to that, showing slavery could exist anywhere in the U.S. And finally, connection to the KCO. The ruling of the U.S. government on the Dred Scott versus Stanford issue made tensions between the free and slave states worse, supporting the South, practically stating slavery could exist anywhere in the U.S. The decisions of the Dred Scott versus Stanford case would eventually be changed after the Civil War, however, giving citizenship to all U.S.-born peoples. Finally, well, now I'm going to sleep.